in this particular video, I'm going to be taking you through a well-explained process of putting all these parts together to set up your AHD CCTV camera system. And so join me as we go through the installation process. It promises to be very interesting. Let's start with this indoor camera. And of course, we'll be making connections for the video and the power terminal. So I already have my BNC connectors fitted onto my coaxial cable, which is ready for video connection from a camera. So what to do is to lock up the BNCs together. This is the end from the cable and this is the one from the camera, and so you will have to lock them up together and twist them to lock it up. So this connection is from the camera and this is supposed to go into the DVR. So I'll just plug it into the DVR as the first connection into the DVR from the first camera. We'll be utilizing all 4 video inputs, so I can plug this first camera into any of the video inputs here. So I can just plug it here. I'll push it down and then get it locked up. So the first camera has been connected onto the DVR. Now I have my power cable, which is already terminated. This is the type where I had to just join this DC connector onto a flexible cable. How I managed to identify my polarity is that when you look at the flexible cable, the white flexible cable, one of them is having the right tap on it. It has right tap on it and it goes through along the cable. And so I used the right tap on the cable to mark my cable as the positive. So from this end, I connected the red to the one with the label, and then the one without the label is what I'm using as the negative. So when I come to this end also, I would have to just remember that this is my positive, the one with the label, and the one without the label is my negative. So this is how it goes. This end is what goes into the CCTV camera by plugging it this way. And then this other end is what will wire into the power supply unit. This is my power supply unit into which we would be wiring all the cameras. And this is a unit that would have to be placed at a central location so that all the cameras would be supplied power from this central point. So as I have already mentioned, this is the cable. The one with the label, the one with the right up on it is what I've used as positive, and the one without the label is what I've used as my negative. So just run it into the power supply unit, and then with my flat screwdriver I would loose the terminal block into which I'll wire this cable. If you observe critically, you realize that positive is at the top here. It is a small right up, but then positive is at the top here and negative is at the down here, which means that the hole here is the positive and the one here is negative. So my positive, as I mentioned, is the label one. So you have to just push it into this block like this. Let me do it so that it will show in the camera. You let it go into it, go underneath, and then you just tighten up the block on it. Tighten up very firmly to lock up well, and then the negative will also be placed in there, and then you just have to tighten it up also, so to go well, and then it is there. So it means that the first camera has been wired into it. So the wiring of the rest of the cameras is a repetition of what we have done to this very first camera. So we'll quickly go through so that we can do another thing. So the second camera would also have to utilize a video cable. Here's a video cable which I would also plug into this camera, and then also we can as well plug the power cable also. So here's another power cable which I'll plug. So it means that at the camera end we have a complete connection for both video and power. So we'll take each end to its respective side. So the BNC will go into the DVR. Let me lift up the DVR and plug in the BNC. So the BNC connection, I'll put it into the bottom side here, place it and ensure that it locks properly. So the second camera is connected onto the DVR. So that second camera's power will also go into the power supply units. And so let me trace up the cable and ensure that it goes into the power supply unit. So it goes in there, I will be utilizing this bridge so that I will wire the second camera here. So I'll just loose this bridge, get it loosed, and then I'll have to sort out my positive and negative terminals. So the one with the label as well is the positive, and I'll get it placed in there, get it placed in there, and then I'll tighten it up, make sure it's firm. And then the negative also goes to the negative port here, it goes well, it should go down well. Then you also tighten it up well. And let me also give this caution that, as you can see, I have made sure that the conductors are not exposed, where no part of the conductor is hung out loosely, so that they don't get to touch each other and cause a short circuit of the power supply unit. When the two parts or the exposed wires touch each other, you realize that the fuse in here will get blown, and so no output will be produced to the camera that is wired to this cable. So it's very important to always push your conductors into the terminal block well and tighten them properly. This is my third camera, which is a bullet camera, and I suppose this would have been placed at an outdoor location. So the connections still remain the same. We'll use the cable, the video cable, and connect into the camera. So the video connection goes to the BNC. We lock it up well and have it lock, and then this other end is what goes into the DVR. So connect it into the DVR in this manner. So I'll utilize the top one here, place it in here, and then lock it up. So that's the third camera connection into the DVR. We'll plug up a power cable. Here's a power cable. This is also using the same convention I used, the positive as the label one, and then the negative as the one without the label. This end is what goes into the power socket of the camera, and then the other end goes into the power supply unit. We'll pass it into the unit from here, select the positive from the negative, which is very important. This is the positive one. I will lose my bridge, lose it open, make sure it opens very wide so it can accommodate the cable. So I'll push it through, let it go and sit properly, then you can tighten it up. Make sure it tightens well. The second one also, the negative, also goes in there, and then you get it tightened properly as well. Okay, so the third camera has also gone through. So I want to straight away wire up the fourth camera also. So here is a fourth cable which I want to take into the fourth camera. So let's at once wire it up so that we'll just plug up the other end into the camera. So let's pass it into it, and then also the terminal block, I'll loosen the fourth one. Lose it well, and then the second one, the negative. So it is ready. I'll let in the positive cable, the labeled cable. Let it into the bridge. Once it sits properly, you can tighten it. Okay, it is tightened. The negative also goes in there, and then you tighten it also. Tighten it very well. Okay, so here is the power supply unit, which is fully wired now. Right, so the fourth camera is here. This is the fourth camera. It's also a bullet camera, which is an outdoor camera, and I've already prepared its power supply, which I can plug into this, and then it's left with the video connection, of which I will need the B and C cable. Here's another cable, which is also the coaxial terminated with the B and C. So we plug it and then we lock it up, and the other end is what will run into the DVR, the fourth port on the DVR. Let me lift the DVR and bring up, and so we'll have to make sure we slide it in here. It's a bit tight now, so we'll have to find a way around it. And so it has also gone. So the four cameras have been wired, both power and video. So this is the monitor that I intend to use in monitoring this CCTV setup. I have decided to turn it this way because these are the points through which I will do the connection of the monitor, that is the output of the DVR into the monitor. So let me bring up the DVR as well. Here is my DVR as well. So on the DVR we have both a VGA port and an HDMI port, of which fortunately we have also an HDMI port and then a VGA port on the monitor as well. So that means that any one of them can be used. You can either use the VGA port or the HDMI port, whichever works best for you. So here is a pair of HDMI cable that I can use to connect from the DVR to the monitor. So I'll simply plug it into the HDMI port of the monitor, the DVR, and then it goes into the HDMI port of the monitor. So as I plug it that way, that is all the connection from the DVR into the monitor. The DVR requires a 12 volts DC power, so here is its power adapter that I will plug into it like this, and then this end, as you know, will go into a power socket, so I'll take it in there. Now we are left with the power supply unit as well, which needs to also be powered so that we can have power in our cameras. All I have to do is to turn on the mains power. So the LEDs are just indicating that power is coming from the system and coming into each of these outputs. So now that the cameras are powered on, the DVR is also on. Let's now focus on the monitor and see how the whole thing goes. You can see that the DVR is loading up and the cameras have also started coming up. All the cameras are up. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.